Hi, Mr. Paratano here to give you a little pointers on how to make a graph in Google. Okay, so that's something that lots of people have been struggling with is how do I draw on a document inside of a Google Docs assignment? I'm going to use a lab assignment we just gave out as an example, but you can pretty much do this process with anytime you have to draw on something on a Google Docs worksheet or really any Google product assignment. Okay, it's a neat little trick using what's called Google Drawing, or I think it might also be called Google Sketch, but I'll show you as we go through. So here's the lab that I'm working with today. It's called the Buggy Motion Lab. And at one point in the assignment, it asks the students to create a couple of graphs, a motion, position versus time motion graph, okay, using data that you would have collected up here. Now, the issue is it's not super simple to draw a graph on this document, and it's even harder to really put in the labels at the bottom that you need that are supposed to be there. So I'm going to show you one option for how to go about doing this. First things first, if you're given a graph that you're supposed to put the information on, you need to save this image, okay? So here's how you're going to do that. We right click on it, and notice it says save to keep. Usually there's usually a save to keep, or there is a option that might say save image. In this case, it just says save to keep. Now what that will do is open this little side panel over here, and it just adds an extra step. So you just right click, save. So right click, save to keep, right click here, save image. And you can just put it wherever your downloads folder. And I'm just going to call it graph. Cool, whatever. Just remember where you saved it. And it should pop up down there. Easy peasy. Next step. Open up Google Drive. If you go to Google, remember the little waffle button, click on Drive. We want to open our Google Drive. Now, something not commonly used is this new button. This new button is really powerful. It's really useful. You click on the new button, and you can always remember you pause the video if you need to pause and catch up. More, and there it is, Google Drawings. Google Drawings, because we want to draw a graph. Now it's pretty straightforward to an extent. This is like Paint. If you've ever used Paint in Microsoft, it's not a great program, but it does the job. I'm going to give it a little quick title. This is my position versus time graph, right? And we need to insert that image. Insert, image. Upload from the computer. If it was saved on your drive, you could also do it there. I'm going to upload it from my computer, where I just called it graph. And I insert it. And boom, look. I got a graph right there. Boom. So that's not special. Here's how. Always remember you can zoom in a bit. We're going to zoom in here to look at this. To view. There's my zoom button. Oop, too much. Okay. Now, remember with graphs, we need a couple of things. We need labels for our time and position. We need units and all that stuff. So with Google Drawings, there's a text box. Hit text box. You want to put your labels down here. I go a little beyond the length of my graph here. And now you can start. It takes a little bit of tweaking to get the size of the font right. But then, maybe it's a little smaller. Maybe this is 0. And you have to use the space bar, but you can put 2 for whatever your units are. This is not the answers to that assignment if you're still working on this particular assignment. But I'm just putting in numbers here. I'm showing you just how to make your graph. So let's say, and you can keep going on and on and on. And you can even scanner to label it, because remember we want to label this is if this is time on the bottom and my units seconds. That's kind of a small font, so you might have to play with it. But time in seconds. You could do the same thing over here on the side. Let's say we need to do it here too. We need to draw a graph right there. We need to put my label, whatever. I think I might be too zoomed in. That's too small, whatever. So I make my little label. And this just takes a minute. It's not that hard, but you can do the same thing here where, if you're counting down, maybe easier to count down here if you know that the top is going to be 20 and 18, 16, and whatever is easy. You can even put in another text box over here for your label. Like if I know that this is position, in meters, I can actually twist it so it's written sideways, because you'll want it sideways. And again, you just got to play with it. Look at that. Position, meters. Now, the actual graphing part. This is, again, just like paint, where let's say you need to draw your lines. Well, look, there's a line button up here. Lines, arrows, connectors. It's like we want to draw a line. I want to go from maybe 0, maybe I want to draw a line. And again, a little bit of playing, it needs to go. Your line needs to go in a certain spot. And you can just drag. You can drag it to be where you need it to be. And then you can just start inserting new lines. And we can make our little graph like this, so whatever you need to do to graph, blah, blah, blah. Look at me, I'm making a graph. Now, once you're done and you're happy with it, you're satisfied with it, remember you can also add in other types of shapes. Like if you want to put a point on it, when you put little dots, maybe they want you to put like an actual marker on things. We can put little circles. See how I made a little dot? So you can do that. It's all paint. It's just inserting shapes, inserting lines, and you can make a really nice looking graph just like this. Now, here's putting it back in the assignment is important to remember too. So we saved it. We're done. You should be able to go back. Now that it's saved, it's automatically saved, just like all Google stuff. We go back into our assignment. Closing out this little keep thing. We go back into our assignment. Remember, this is the same assignment. I want to put it right there, right? So you want to insert. I need to delete this. You may have to play with the formatting a little, but insert, look at this, drawing from Drive. Boom. You can technically also make a new drawing right here, but sometimes it's easier to go into Drive and make it the way I showed you. You can also make one there. From Drive, look at this, position versus time. And I would recommend just doing unlinked. That means you can't edit it again, but you should be done with the drawing anyways. Look at that. Boom. Okay. Don't freak out. So sometimes it has an error like that. Maybe you do need to do it as a linked, but again, play with it. Ooh. Google's been doing this today. Right in the middle of the video, of course. I stopped the connection, but you saw what I did. It's still trying to reconnect. Now it's trying to say the internet's dead. Okay. Anyways, it shows you how to make a graph on Google. Okay. So, like I said, we insert our drawing from Drive, position versus time, done. And you can crop it. You should be able to crop it. So that way, see the little crop button? So that way it's not taking up so much dadgum space. Right there. Boom. There it goes. Yeah, so it's taking up a lot less space now. And once you cropped it a little bit, there you go. You have made a graph and inserted it into your assignment. I just deleted the old graph. Now it's there. It's done. Again, you may have to play with the formatting a little bit because as you can see, it kind of moved some things. We wanted it below this question, I believe. So you may have to move it around so that the assignment looks like the way it was supposed to. But there it is. All done. Yeah, this was on the next page. Yeah, boom. That's it. All right. There you go. You have made a drawing and inserted it into a Google document.